Hello guys and welcome to Watching Time. Today we're going to review uh, one of my latest arrival, let's say, on the collection. I'm always sending at least putting on weight some of the watches that I wanted to review because of the new ones. And in this case, I have just received today, so these shipments have just arrived, this very nice Dietrich Skin Diver. So this is the SD-1. It's one of the new watches that Dietrich is producing after short, let's say, period of absence of new models from Dietrich. They have decided to change the route and the direction the company was having in terms of designs, and the older models that they were doing. These are designed by Emmanuel Dietrich. We can consider them a micro brand at the start of everything, but actually for the last years I see them more as a brand than a micro, especially because of the design and the work that's behind, the excellent management also in terms of the marketing and the watches that are and have been being supplied for the last almost 5 years, that have really marked a very strong legacy on what Dietrich can do as a brand. And I was really curious to have this new model because it definitely shows a new direction to what the company wants to go. So here the inspiration is clear, and it's clearly on the name. It is a skin diver, reinterpret obviously under the eyes of Emmanuel Dietrich, with some aesthetics designs that are going to be unique for the piece, but it's still remaining a skin diver inspired watch. So skin divers, they have definitely marked the diving watches origin from the 60s to the 70s. Dietrich, on the other side, are more well known for a design that it's based on an hexagon, like this one. This is organic time, in this case the OT5, with a bronze bezel. Very nicely done, but also very unique for the time that they came out. These type of watches I really love. They were big, they were a statement on your wrist, definitely when they came out, and they were an eye catcher from everywhere. So we can see some aesthetic design pieces from this organic time that has passed through to the new generation of diving watches that Dietrich is producing. So first of all, you have the hours and minutes hand that are exactly the same. So there is definitely a callback here to what they were doing on the OT. We have that the design of the hexagon that was used for the case, I actually find it reproposed on the bracelet. So this is a really fun and interesting aesthetic continuation from what was the past of the company and what is going to be the future with the new skin divers. So I think, and I found really something that it's totally interesting and worth of notice. So going back to the Dietrich watch, let's go through some of the things that I think are very important to notice and highlight, and some of the things that are less. So one of my main criticism, and this is a watch that I love, the OT, but at the time was one of my main criticism, is actually the movement. So the movement here was an NH, if I remember correctly, and it was not at the, let's say, highness of both the design and the manufacturing that was behind the watch. So I expected there to be an improvement, and actually we have seen an improvement over the new models that Dietrich produced during those years, but also this new skin diver. So here at the heart we have Sellita SW200, which is a perfectly fine Swiss-made movement, good quality, good construction, affordable at the same time because it's not too expensive, and you will not expect a very expensive watch for that price, but it lets you have a very strong quality. So the other thing that you can notice here is that even if this is based, at least Dietrich, on Zurich, there is no Swiss made written around. The reason why is that I think I have not asked them, but I think from from where the watch was shipped, most of the production, even if the movement is Swiss made, is made actually in Asia, in Hong Kong. So it was shipped from Hong Kong. I can only assume that, and that's totally fine. They are not bringing a statement here that it's produced in Switzerland. They are bringing a statement of a Swiss-made movement, absolutely yes, but not the production. And there's nothing wrong actually with productions coming from Hong Kong. Most of the pieces that are being used today in the Swiss-made market are actually Asian-based. And I can really say that from my first impressions from the quality of construction and the design around it, this is actually an excellent watch in terms of design and quality, especially for the price that you're going to be paying for it. So let's go first for what I think is probably the most distinctive characteristic of this skin diver, and it's the bracelet. It's a 20 millimeter easy on, easy off strap. It has this shape that it's inspired on the what I think is the bezel case of the organic time. So you have these hexagons in the middle that are really, really nice and remind you of the past of Dietrich. At the same time, the bracelet has a flow and movement that it's really elegant, really unique, and as you can see, the single pieces that you are going to be finding on the bracelet really make the difference at the end. I think this is actually one of the crown pieces, the jewels of the crown, if you might, because the bracelet is really well done and executed, and I think quite unique. I don't remember right now a bracelet that it's similar. There's probably one from Yema that comes to my mind that it's kind of lizardly inspired, but it's not like this. And this one you also have, it gives you a little bit of the sensation of scales, but I think the inspiration was more based on the past of Dietrich and the OT, actually, rather than a lizardy, let's say, inspiration here. So I think this is really, really one of the jewels of the crown. In terms of quality, it's excellent. It has something that is very distinctive also in terms of the shininess, if we want to put it on another way, because the whole stainless steel surface is brushed. So you are not going to have polished areas here, but the borders, especially of these hexagon links, are polished actually. So these borders that are actually polished give a sort of light to the bracelet that I think it's quite unique, and it's going to play very, very well on any wrist. And the best part of all, if you don't really like the look of the stainless steel bracelet, you also have a very nice synthetic rubber strap that is really well done. I think the design actually plays very well. It has kind of a look, even if it's not, of an integrated because of the small lugs that it has, its lugs arm, but it actually plays very well. It looks kind of integrated to the case. So I think it's a really nice design and a really nice option if you want to actually go diving with the watch. So this watch, as I was saying, is born actually to be diving if you want. So you have a series of sapphire used in the dial and also the bezel. So the bezel has a sapphire insert that you can see clearly here with a Beijing W9 used on the markers of the bezel. You have a dial which is quite unique. Both the black and the blue version are really nice, and they go from a gradient of light to dark from the center. And actually, as you can see, the dial, it's actually made of a sapphire put on top of the color background. So you have kind of the sensation that the markers are floating, if you want it in another way, on the dial itself. So the date has also been remarkably placed at 6 o'clock in a very elegant way that it's actually very well camouflaged with the markers are free at 9 o'clock. The 12th marker is in the shape of a triangle pointing upwards, and the bezel, which is actually slightly six-sided. You probably can notice that you have actually here the six-sided bezel. It's very, very slight, so you will not notice. It has a 120 very at least it sounds good. Clicks to it. The case, it is more of a classical, if you want to put it back into the classical way, skin diver case. On the back case, you have a very nice 6 bullets, if you want to open it, fixed points. The clasp, it's a kind of elegant butterfly clasp. It works very well. No logo, no names here. Just some details like a stainless steel. And we go back to the watch, which is actually working very, very well. I really have to say that the design of the Skin Diver actually works quite well. If we want to put it next to some of other skin divers that have signaled the past of skin diver watches, this is a 40mm Zodiac Super Sea Wolf, which was also really famous during the 60s, which was not obviously the Dietrich, it's a modern watch. So the size, it is a 38, almost 0.5, 0.8 millimeters case, 46 lug to lug, 20 millimeters for the straps, and 12 millimeters height. So also here you have some sapphire on the crown, which is a really nice touch. It reminds me a little bit of the fish of Doxa, but that's okay. So what do we have here at the end is a very versatile case. It can be worn on any type of wrist at this point, even in a woman's wrist, especially women that like male looking watches. But the bracelet, this delicacy that it brings, it actually gives a touch of femininity. If we want to put it on another way to the watch, I think it will actually suit also women as men's. This is my 18 centimeters wrist, so this is not a small wrist. And as you can see on my wrist, it looks quite elegant from one side. On the other side, yeah, delicate, if we want to put it on another way. So it's a size that I'm not as comfortable, because I'm usually wearing watches that are 40 millimeters upwards from there. So usually down the 40 millimeter side, I feel that they are too small for my wrist, but I think this one actually works just fine. It is not big. It is, as I was saying, also something that you can wear on a smaller wrist, and definitely it's something that is going to be very, very versatile. So I don't know what you think, guys. The case, it's a very nice waterproof plastic case. It's not big. It is actually quite small, and I think this is actually a nice touch, because you have something that can actually be stored in a way that it's less going to occupy your space, like big boxes, etc. So I think they have really done a very nice and interesting leap forward to the future. With this first Skin Diver, they have presented a new face of Dietrich, a new evolution compared to the OT. I love the OT, so I really hope that they are going to be bringing back soon somehow a modernization of the old OT. It will be really, really interesting to see these pieces back again, with maybe a smaller case, some tweaks to the shape of it, making it less bulky, but at the same time bringing a Swiss made movement on the inside, and having some of the aesthetics that it made it so popular when they came out. Nowadays they are difficult to find, and you will probably find it on the second-hand market, but the Skin Diver have just been released by Dietrich, and it's already sold out, at least the first batch of production. I suppose they're going to be producing more. This is not a limited edition watch, but definitely there was a limited production at the start. So what do you think, guys? Do you think it is going to be an interesting option for a Skin Diver and to take the market? Please leave your impressions down. I really hope that you like the review. If you do, please subscribe to the channel. I am always showcasing watches that are coming to my collection and becoming part of it. Oh, a really nice touch. As you see, it doesn't say automatic, it says automatique, which is in French obviously the same. But it's a nice touch, and also on the roots that the watch has and its origin. So anyway, guys, I really hope you like it, and see you back on my next video. Until then, please take care. I'm going to put it just for the sake of closing of the video, next to a monster in terms of diving, but I definitely think the skin divers were much more popular and definitely much more versatile than using one of the big chunks like the deep sea. See you on the next video. Bye bye.